Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video by me, the Angry Dutchman. And today I want to talk about the changes in the balance patch. Currently, it's in a beta. I think we got the second version right now. So I'm just going to go over all the changes and give you my quick thoughts about it. And I would love to hear your thoughts about the changes in the comments down below. So I hope we get a nice discussion going here. So let's start here with the general changes. So all sandbags have received an increase in target size to make them easier to hit when attacked directly by ballistic weapons such as AT guns. Target size of 1 to 20. This is a big quality of life change that's going to help a lot in hitting the sandbags. I mean, I think everyone has done it plenty of times, trying to hit a sandbag, but instead it's missing or hitting the ground. And instead of taking 3 shots, killing sandbags can take up to 10 shots if you're unlucky. So I think this is a very big positive, especially with the amount of sandbags that units can build, looking at conscripts, Volks, Grenadiers, infantry sections. It's a little less of a problem if you're fighting versus Austria, since there only the engineers can build, but if you're fighting versus an Osttrooper player, it's very handy to be able to deny that cover to get rid of that accuracy bonus, because all Osttrooper can build sandbags, of course, after command point 1 or 2. Medium mobile mortars. The following change will allow veteran mortars to launch smoke rounds from further away, reducing the requirement for them to redeploy for smoke screens. Veteran C2 now also increases smoke range by 20 in addition to other bonuses, which I think is a good thing. MGs are quite powerful, so giving mortars a little bit more use, I think it's a good change. MG formation. So last patch changed the MGs from like standing all behind the gunner, which often made the gunner get cycle killed, so you would get into a death loop by just having infantry charging them frontally, to having 2 of the crew members stand in front of the MG, which would one also spot for the MG, which makes it quite strong, and it makes sure the gunner doesn't die. So from being too vulnerable with your MG to the MG being too strong, they're trying to balance it out now, which I think it's a very good thing it's doing that. So the forward 2 models have been moved back to be almost at the same position of the MG gunner when deployed in the open. This change will reduce some of the extra side gained by MGs and increase the crew's vulnerability to AoE. So what you also had, if you got into range to throw a grenade, the models would be so spread out that the grenade would not damage a lot of models to actually be very useful. So I think this change is good. So it makes MGs a little less reliable on themselves, and it makes their killability a little bit better. So if you can make a good play, you can get the kill here. So good change over there. Snipers having the following change tested to reduce their mobility, to weaken their ability to soft retreat from fights when they are rushed by infantry squads. You now take a minus 25% speed penalty and firing for 5 seconds. This penalty does not stack. Yeah, this is something you have to see played out, which is fine. I think our sniper's too strong, maybe a little bit, especially if you're playing as OKW. You got very limited ways to kill the sniper. Same goes for USF. If you don't get it with the M20 at the start, you're gonna be struggling quite a bit. British both force, yeah, not something you see very much in 1v1s since they're quite redundant. So they're gonna get cheaper side tanks. So a couple cheaper side tanks here. So AEC and both are going to be cheaper. Also, infantry squad is going to be cheaper in the manpower. So I think these buffs can stack quite a bit, and being able to just get that extra unit out faster because of all the cheapness here. Then we've got the British assault officer that's being changed, so also cheaper. It's going to get a barrage, off-map smoke barrage as well. And can you upgrade with a single K Vickers machine gun? So yeah, basically a complete overhaul to the unit. So let's see how that's gonna work out. Maybe it's going to be used more now. I mean, when it came out, we saw it a little bit with some shenanigans with the Lend-Lease doctrine from the Brits, but not that much more. Now, this change, Churchill AVRE has been tweaked to reduce the chance of the projectile undershooting. So yeah, that's a common problem. If you use the AVRE, you have to shoot further than your intended target because projectile often undershoots. So the speed is reduced, and the ready aim time is also reduced. So it's going to shoot a bit faster, while the projectile is slower. Yeah, let's see how this works out. Churchill tank from population 19 to 18, I think that's fine. Forward observation post. Yeah, just random changes, not really much to talk about. Infantry section having the reinforced times reduced to match other infantry. Pyrotechnics has also been improved to provide the British with another mobile detector unit, while the smoke barrage has been reworked to make it easier to use, allow for more aggressive plays against static positions. Smoke barrage has been reworked to an off-max smoke barrage with 45 range. She has a quota with all other infantry sections, other officers. Yeah, like if you look at the gameplay right now, pyrotechnics is not a thing that a lot of people get. Mostly they just slap on a couple of healing bags. So maybe this will increase the use of pyrotechnics. And I think nice of this is the stealth detection range. So this helps Brits in fighting snipers. So being able to find them also helps versus stormtroopers, Jägerlights, so it might actually be useful now to get pyrotechnics. So I like this change, trying to get underused ability be used more, but it doesn't seem completely broken. Royal Engineers having the frequency 1 adjusted. Frequency 1's 10 cooldown and reload bonus requirements change. It must now be stationary for the bonus to apply. Does not require cover to function. Okay, so it basically become a little bit more useful. Okay, see how that'll probably still be fine, not too strong. Population reduction, I think that's fine. The universal carrier Vickers K weapon is now plus 25% accuracy bonus against snipers. I think it was already quite strong for snipers, and that with the already nerf on the snipers themselves, I think might be overkill. Might just be very easy to just yeet your universal carrier forward, kill the sniper, and be happy. So Now once again, weapon racks also another 50 manpower down. So if you just look at at all the boosts Brits are getting, there's a lot of manpower reductions. 25 there, 25 over there, another 50 here. So that's almost an extra, like an engineer squad you can get out, just from all the reductions. So they're getting some good buffs here. Auxiliary assault, artillery from 200 to 225. Basically all the big artilleries are now 225. So all the MG guns are also getting that population from 6 to 7. Stern Pioneers. Yes, this is very nice as well. We've heard the addition of the sweeper's shield symbol. This symbol, like you can pop the sweeper out and in, but because of the symbol, you would often not recognize the fact that you had your sweeper in, and they would still hit a mine. So I think removing this again is smart, just to make it a little bit more clear. Becoming a bit stronger, so a bit more survivability, which is nice. Will boost the early game power a bit, Fed 2, but also in the late game to keep them alive more. And this is a very costly unit. They need to do a whole lot of things. It's probably one of the weaknesses of W, the fact that they need to sweep mines, build mines, do wire, do all the repairs, and they're so expensive that you can't really afford to get more than one. Now, the Sturm Tiger unit that's been properly abused. So rocket attack range down from 40 to 35, I think that's good. So you can no longer shoot into the fog of war. CV requirement for 8 to 10, so it can no longer come out so quickly. Also, good trades can no longer use crew repair when reloading. So mostly what you are able to do is like get a couple shots in the Storm Tiger, but then it goes backwards, does the crew repair and reload at the same time, and then goes forward again. So by making them not able to do both at once, they will make sure it can't like shoot every 60 seconds, but instead it probably can shoot every like what 80, 90 seconds. So it gives you a lot more time, which is great. So a couple nerfs here, I think it's good. Let's see if it is enough. Now, probably most used was their commander, the Jaeger Infantry Commander. Let's see how it's been changed. So Stuka Close Air Support, 80 Loiter Chase to Stuka Close Air Support, 80 Strafe. I don't think that's that much of a significant change. I would rather have them had tackle camo, for instance. MG42 have a machine gun team from 67, which is also good. Initial nerf was meant to weaken the early game strength against the more expensive main lines of factions such as USF and UKF. However, Osupin was still too cost-effective in ability to trade and even win engagements. The early power has been further reduced and the LMG upgrade price has been increased to better reflect its new performance. So Threat 1 accuracy bonus when in cover removed, cover bonus from 250 to 200%, and MG cost increase. Okay, so these are really good nerfs for the Ostrupen. And now we just have to test it out whether they're still viable and balanced, or whether you could still just roll with them. They still have the power that they're cheap, they come out in numerous amounts, you can capture the map quickly, but let's see if they are still able to hold their ground versus the cons and the riflemen. B for Howitzer is getting a nerf, so increased recharge time, suppression radius less, it's fine. Both machine guns also get that pop increase. So like this patch is really to reduce the power of the MGs, which is a good thing because a lot of people stopped playing because MGs were just too strong. They didn't like the very static gameplay. Something we also saw in tournaments, that matches were just dragged out while not much was happening. The major frequency one also provides plus 15 sight in addition to other bonuses. That's fine. Spotting tool. Yeah, good use. Like I normally just chuck the major away. Like I don't think it's that useful unit to keep around. A little buff there, I think it's fine. Sherman 76mm MG standardized with the regular Sherman. This increases the max range DPS. Okay, so Sherman 76mm, a bit stronger. So overall, a bunch of bug fixes as well. And then there's also new skins and commander portraits, which is nice, but doesn't really matter. This has also happened, so the Loiter abilities, Stuka S for Sector Assault, Rocket Through Attack, and P-47 Rocket Run are all being delayed to give the players more time to dodge the planes before they arrive. I think that's pretty good. Penalty on snipers being reduced to be less punishing, so the speed penalty, which they introduced in the notes above, is getting reduced, so it probably was too strong here. So let's see if the snipers still just die every time, or whether they're actually like viable but not too strong. That's probably what you want. Tiger and King Tiger Spearhead. The following has been added to give players an indicator that it has activated the Spearhead ability. Now display the red icon overhead of the unit when active. Okay, so just a quality of life change, which is fine. Assault and Tank Hunters checks also with the same reinforcement time. It's also fine. Hammer and Anvil tank, so once or another manpower cost reduction. And the cost of bolster was to be reverted. So they'll probably revert this in 3. So a couple of boosts, especially on the manpower side. Also the reinforced timing is also very handy for Brit. So a couple of buffs here being changed around. It's just probably a good idea. They're probably overperforming a bit with all those manpower buffs. Let's see, Ost here. Assault Grenadiers. They were like hard nerfed into oblivion, we're removing their sprint ability to battle phase 1. And now they're changing it up to having it available, but it costs 20 now, and after battle phase 1 it returns to 10. So you have it available, but it comes at a price, which is probably a good thing. Definitely a good thing, because we have seen like almost 0 assault grenadiers after the patch. While they're very fun game mechanic to use, also very fun to watch in tournaments and stuff, like aggressive gameplay. That's what we need to get back to a little bit, in my opinion. Sprint. The following change gates sprint behind the ambush camouflage upgrade, forcing investment in the unit before the ability comes available. Instead of tackling the sprint, I would love to see them tackle the damage bonus from camouflage that they get for 5 seconds. It's a shame. 120mm definitely needs a nerf, so the auto attack range reduced from 100 to 80, but it's probably needs a little bit of a damage nerf, because if it randomly just hits your squad, and it's always just forcing you to retreat, especially if you're playing Austin, when you have your 4-man squads, you can't ever stay on the field versus the 120mm Howard mortar. It's probably still a bit too strong. SU-76 getting a bit buffed. Alright. So, things I'm personally missing here, but that's my opinion. I think the T-34-76 is still a unit that overperforms if you compare it to the Cromwell, the Ostia P4. I think the unit is just too cheap and too spammable. Because you need to see it as a whole, right? It always has support from conscripts and sysguns, which are very hard to kill or decrew because they have those 6-men. Conscripts late game even 7-men. But that in combination with the T-34-76 effectiveness versus infantry, I think it's too cheap for what it does. I would have loved to see a nerf to that, but that's my personal opinion. I think I don't really see anything that's pretty bad in the patch notes. I like the fact that they are tackling the MG34s, or the MGs in general. I hope that the Storm Tiger nerf is enough. And yeah, the rest we kind of need to see. Would have loved to see a bit of a buff to mechanized play from OKW, like Luke's play. I think it's completely not available at the moment. It's just not worth going. Luke's doesn't do enough damage. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of their Pino PTRS to 3-men. I think they're quite strong versus all the light vehicles, which just makes them a bit too spammable. Same goes with the British, how they call British tank hunter sections. We're also seeing lately strategies where they're just spamming the British tank hunter sections together with snipers, and it just becomes super hard to kill those units because they have a lot of men, 5-men, Pinos have 6-men. You just can't get towards the sniper. So I would have loved to see them tweaked a little bit so that your light vehicle has a bit more survivability against those. But yeah, overall, not all of bad stuff. Probably would have done something else with the camo on Jaeger infantry. I would have done something else with the 120mm mortar, but it's a start. So let me know what you guys think about the patch notes, and I'd love to hear about it. So see you in the comments down below.